Welcome to this special edition of Recon. I'm Staff Sergeant Brian Buckwalter. We'll be bringing you updates on 3 earlier recons, starting here at the Sergeant Merlin German Wounded Warrior Call Center in Dumfries, Virginia. We'll also take you to the coasts of Puerto Rico, where biometrics technology is making a huge difference in the fight to control illegal immigration. Master Sergeant Daniela Marcus showed the early stages of the Coast Guard's program in Perilous Passage, and will also reset life and limb, showing yet another breakthrough in upper body prosthetics. But first, the call center, an activity of the Marine Wounded Warrior Regiment. Master Sergeant Ryan Hoke first told you of Merlin German's valiant fight against massive burn injuries in battling the odds. A viewer note, some of the images you'll see during this segment may be disturbing to some.
All the same information that I've sent you that we've discussed already.
They email those forms to you, or I can send them to you in the mail.
That's a good medication. A lot of our guys use that.
It's a place sick, injured, or wounded Marines can contact for help. Any kind of help at all.
And the case manager have busted their hump on this. If that department is coming up with that attitude.
We literally hear PTSD, TBI, financial issues, issues trying to figure out paperwork with whatever government entity, whether it's the VA, whether it's us.
He sounds good.
Civilian staff members, all with a personal or family connection to the Corps, are here to help Marines and their families 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If only they'll call.
This is a culture all unto itself, the Marine Corps, and we want to make sure that those folks who are dealing with our wounded and injured Marines understand the type of people they're dealing with. This is a warrior. This is someone who is very proudful, and they need to understand that going into this. This is not someone that is typically going to ask for help. They're going to try and do a lot of it on their own.
That means a lot of outreach to both agencies that might help and individual Marines, active and retired.
The Wounded Warrior Regiment decided that this would be more of an outreach center to reach out to those Marines that serve, to let them know that the Marine Corps is still here, looking out for them, to take care of them long after their service.
Sergeant Merlin German was a burn victim who confounded medical expectations for an extended period before passing away during surgery.
His nickname is the Miracle Man. Well, he lived his last 17 months of his life dedicated to helping other burn victims. He didn't sit back and let his wounds succumb over him. He succumbed them by helping others, and that's what he used his energy for. This call center kind of exemplifies that ethos that he had.
Our visit with him took place at his home in San Antonio, Texas, just a few weeks prior to his death.
Battling the odds, Master Sergeant Hoke's original report on Merlin German was first broadcast in May of 2008.
Merlin German grew up in the Dominican community in New York City. He enlisted in the Marine Corps right out of high school and dreamed of becoming an FBI agent after his service. But
all my tissues and muscles are turned away, and having a 3% chance of living, 97% burn, was impossible to survive.
In February of 2005, Lance Corporal Merlin German was a Humvee machine gunner on a mounted patrol in Baghdad. He'd spotted an improvised explosive device at the side of the road.
And it exploded. I had gotten hit with an IED sword, actually 3 times before, and it was just like black smoke and just wait until the smoke clears up. But this one was a lot different because it was like the black smoke with a dull fire, actually, like reddish orange smoke in your face, and it was like, I was trying to think about how is the smoke so hot.
Merlin was burned over 97% of his body. He was brought to Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio, Texas. Merlin's case would push the limits of medical technology. Dr. Evan Renz was on his treatment team from the start.
The only areas that were not burned really were the top of his head, the soles of his feet, and a couple small areas, one on his back and one on the front.
I was like, I gotta have died and things like this, and if God loved me so much, why this happened? He should have saved me before it happened. I told him one day, I need to see the mirror, I need to see now. And when I first time I saw him, I saw I started crying. I got a lot of depression out of it. That as time went by, I started being okay with it.
Everyone wanted to meet Merlin German. One day, President Bush came to visit.
I look up, the president behind my mother, and he goes, "Hola," in Spanish. And I was just listening to what he had to say and stuff, saying thank you for serving our country. That was a life-changing moment. So I felt like what I did in Iraq was not something to somebody.
He defines for us what etiam in pugna means, which is still in the fight. He fought and fought and fought, and it took him, I mean, even at the end of his life, he was still fighting.
He never gave up. He always had that positive mentality of, I'm going to beat this, I'm going to get better, I'm going to succeed, I'm going to thrive. Unfortunately, succumbing to his wounds, even so long after his injury, never gave up.
Merlin German stopped counting operations after 150. He expected to spend an extended period as an outpatient at the burn center, but he died after yet another surgery to help reconstruct his mouth.
You look at what he had to carry on his shoulders, and I never heard him complain about it. I mean, when he was in intense pain, he was suffering, and you could see the suffering. But every day had to hurt, but you wouldn't know it.
He left an indelible impression on everyone that he came in contact with. He never complained. He was consistently positive about his recovery. He never quit.
During his extended hospitalization, Merlin turned 21, got promoted to corporal and then sergeant, and then retired from the Marine Corps. Sometimes he talked of becoming a comedy writer rather than an FBI agent. He had the longest hospitalization in burn center history, 499 days.
I started realizing that I was here and I was just dying. A lot of people would come up to me and say, "You're so strong and I look up to you," and some people call me the hero. The more people were getting inspired, the more I realized that I didn't want to die. I'm okay with the way I am and continue inspiring people.
Before his death, Merlin German set up a nonprofit, Merlin's Miracles, to help child burn victims. It has a small volunteer staff which has supported burn camps for children in California and New York. It's looking to establish relationships with burn units at more hospitals.
And they should have transitioned him to lower doses and transitioned him to better medication if they knew he couldn't walk out of the DOD.
The Sergeant Merlin German call center has a steadily growing volume of calls.
We usually average right around 100+ phone calls coming in each day, and we usually do an outreach on a normal day of about 1,000 outreach calls each day.
The goal is to establish contact with everyone who's served in the Marine Corps since September 11, 2001. And the center will accept calls from older Marines as well.
If you know of someone that is in some level of distress, whether their wounds are external or internal, please have them seek us out and let them know that they've got help. And we can bring a tremendous amount of help. Pick up the phone, call the Wounded Warrior Call Center here at 1-877-487-6299, and allow us to at least take a shot at easing their pain, possibly turning their situation around, throwing some support in their direction, and just helping us find them.
Good afternoon, Marine Corps Wounded Warrior Call Center. This is Sheila. How may I help you?